On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, died of natural causes on April the 22nd, 1994, at the age of 81 after suffering a severe stroke. His death marked the final chapter in one of the most tumultuous and controversial political legacies in American history. While not violent or sudden, Nixon's passing prompted a moment of national reflection on a career that embodied both the heights of political power and the depths of public scandal. Nixon's era was defined by Cold War anxieties, civil unrest, and a shifting media landscape that transformed public expectations of leadership. As president, he achieved significant diplomatic successes, such as opening relations with China and signing arms control agreements with the Soviet Union. Yet, his presidency was permanently stained by the Watergate scandal, which led to his resignation in 1974, the first and only resignation of a U.S. president. His death came at a time when the nation had largely moved beyond the Watergate era, but it still reignited debates about his legacy. Former President Bill Clinton praised Nixon's foreign policy achievements, emphasizing reconciliation over condemnation. Meanwhile, critics continued to cite his abuses of power, reinforcing the complex duality of Nixon's historical footprint. Nixon's funeral, held at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library in Yorba Linda, California, was attended by all 5 living U.S. presidents, a rare show of unity that underscored Nixon's enduring influence. The public reaction was mixed. Some mourned a misunderstood statesman, while others remained wary of celebrating a man associated with political deceit. In death, Nixon's legend evolved. He has been re-evaluated in books, documentaries, and films, not as a one-dimensional villain, but as a symbol of the American presidency's fragility and the risks of unchecked power. Oliver Stone's film Nixon and historian Stephen Ambrose's detailed biographies contributed to this more nuanced understanding. Nixon's story reflects humanity's struggle with moral ambiguity in leadership. His death didn't shift history as dramatically as his resignation had, but it cemented a lasting question. How do we judge power, and who deserves redemption? Through archives, presidential libraries, and portrayals in culture, Nixon remains both a cautionary tale and a compelling figure of memory and debate. Shirley Knight, a celebrated American actress whose career spanned over 6 decades, died of natural causes on April 22, 2020, at the age of 83. Her passing marked the end of a life devoted to the stage and screen, capturing the essence of evolving American storytelling across the 20th and early 21st centuries. Knight died peacefully at her daughter's home in Texas, surrounded by family, a quiet conclusion to a dynamic and artistically rich life. Knight rose to prominence during a transformative time in American theater and film, with 2 Academy Award nominations for The Dark at the Top of the Stairs and Sweet Bird of Youth, 1962. She embodied a new era of emotionally raw, psychologically complex performances that echoed the broader cultural shifts of the 1960s. Civil rights struggles, feminist awakenings, and the breakdown of traditional norms. Her commitment to nuanced, character-driven roles mirrored a generation's desire for authenticity and depth in art. Her death did not send shockwaves through global politics or culture as some celebrity deaths do, but it stirred meaningful reflection within the acting community. Tributes from colleagues and critics highlighted her versatility and integrity as an actress, reminding audiences of a time when the craft was deeply tied to social introspection and literary adaptation. Knight's departure came just as the COVID-19 pandemic was reshaping the entertainment industry, lending her quiet exit an added poignancy, an emblem of a closing chapter in American performance art. Knight's legacy lives on not through massive monuments, but through enduring performances on film and television, and in the memories of audiences who valued depth over spectacle. Her Emmy-winning television work and her continued presence on Broadway into her later years attest to a lifelong devotion to storytelling. As the New York Times noted, she was an actress who brought a luminous depth to every role she played. In death, Shirley Knight reminds us that legacy isn't always measured in headlines, but in the quiet accumulation of authentic moments. Through streaming platforms, stage revivals, and acting workshops that still reference her work, Knight's memory is honored not as a celebrity, but as an artist who enriched our collective emotional vocabulary. Jane Froman, an American singer and actress admired for her resilience and voice, passed away on April 22, 1980, in Columbia, Missouri, at the age of 72. Her death from cardiac arrest marked the end of a life defined by both personal tragedy and profound perseverance. Froman's legacy, however, had long been solidified, not only through her music, but through the inspirational story of survival that defined much of her public image. Froman's life changed irrevocably in 1943 when a USO plane she was aboard crashed off the coast of Lisbon, Portugal. The crash killed 39 of the 48 people on board and left Froman with severe injuries, including a shattered leg that would require over 30 surgeries and leave her with a lifelong limp. Yet, in a time when physical perfection was often emphasized for women in entertainment, Froman's return to the stage and screen, first in a wheelchair, then on crutches, challenged societal expectations and underscored the era's growing appreciation for courage and authenticity over glamour. Her story resonated deeply during and after World War II, an era marked by sacrifice, recovery, and national resilience. Froman not only continued performing for troops, even while in pain, but also became a symbol of hope for wounded veterans. Her tale was dramatized in the 1952 film With a Song in My Heart, starring Susan Hayward, which further immortalized her strength and humanitarian spirit. The immediate aftermath of her passing prompted a wave of affectionate tributes. Though her fame had dimmed in later decades, those who remembered her emphasized her determination and grace under pressure, qualities that transcended entertainment and spoke to the broader human condition. Jane Froman's death reminds us how mortality intersects with legacy. Her perseverance in the face of adversity continues to be honored through scholarship foundations and continued screenings of her biopic. As with many historical figures who overcame personal tragedy, Froman's story persists as a quiet anthem of survival, illustrating how memory, when tied to courage and compassion, becomes a powerful form of immortality. Barry Humphries, the Australian comedian, actor, and satirist, best known for his flamboyant alter ego, Dame Edna Everage, passed away on April 22, 2023, at the age of 89. His death followed complications from hip surgery after a fall, marking the end of a dazzling career that spanned over 7 decades. Humphrey's passing was a natural one, yet it stirred a significant cultural moment, especially within the comedy and theatrical communities who mourned the loss of one of the sharpest wits of the modern era. Humphrey's life and death reflected the evolving values of the 20th and 21st centuries, particularly society's shifting relationship with satire, identity, and political correctness. Throughout his career, he challenged norms through outlandish characters like Dame Edna, who held a mirror to celebrity culture and societal hypocrisy with biting humor disguised as charm. Yet, in later years, some of Humphrey's remarks drew criticism, particularly around gender and identity, prompting conversations about the boundaries of satire in a changing world. His death, then, not only marked the loss of a comedic titan, but ignited reflection on the tensions between free expression and evolving cultural sensibilities. The immediate consequences of his death were tributes from across the globe. Theaters dimmed their lights in homage, and colleagues, including comedians and actors, praised his daring and intellect. His passing amplified the legend of Dame Edna, ensuring the character would remain an enduring symbol of theatrical satire. In a way, Humphreys blurred the line between fiction and identity, his alter egos living vibrant lives parallel to his own. Barry Humphrey's legacy reveals humanity's deep fascination with performance, transformation, and truth-telling through artifice. His characters, though exaggerated, exposed real societal flaws and reflected an era when satire was both a form of rebellion and insight. In remembering him, we see how memory and mortality intertwine, how the stage becomes a site of immortality for those who dare to speak boldly. Today, Humphreys is immortalized not only through his extensive body of work, but in statues, theatrical revivals, and retrospectives of his cultural impact. His passing reminds us that those who challenge us to laugh, even uncomfortably, often leave the deepest impressions. Erin Moran, best known for her role as Joni Cunningham on the beloved television series Happy Days, died on April 22, 2017, at the age of 56. Her death was attributed to complications from stage 4 throat cancer, a natural but tragic end for a woman whose early fame had once captured the spirit of American optimism during the late 20th century. Her passing, while not politically or historically transformative on a grand scale, serves as a poignant lens into the realities faced by child stars and the fleeting nature of celebrity in a media-saturated era. Rising to fame in the 1970s, Moran became the face of youthful charm and innocence on a show that embodied the nostalgic idealism of post-war America. Yet her later years revealed a stark contrast to that glossy image. Struggling with financial instability, fading stardom, and health issues, Moran's life echoed a broader societal pattern of idolizing youth and discarding former icons once they've passed their prime. In this way, her death reflected a challenge of the modern era, how we treat public figures after their spotlight dims. The news of Moran's death prompted an outpouring of tributes from fans and former co-stars. Scott Baio, Ron Howard, and others remembered her not just as Joni, but as a vibrant and talented performer. Yet her death also sparked tabloid speculation before medical reports confirmed cancer as the cause, an unsettling reminder of the media's often invasive role in the lives and deaths of celebrities. Though her passing didn't shift the trajectory of history, it added to the ongoing conversation about mental health, aging in Hollywood, and the long-term effects of early fame. Moran's story continues to resonate as a cautionary tale and as a symbol of a more innocent era in television history. She lives on through reruns, documentaries, and the collective memory of a generation raised on Happy Days. Ultimately, Erin Moran's life and death remind us that fame is transient, but impact can be lasting. Through art and memory, be it her episodes preserved in syndication or tributes from fans, we participate in the quiet act of commemoration, ensuring that figures like her are not forgotten. Richie Havens, the soulful folk singer, best remembered for opening the historic Woodstock Festival in 1969, died of a heart attack on April 22, 2013, at the age of 72. His passing was a natural one, but it marked the quiet end of a voice that had once defined an era of civil rights, counterculture, and peaceful protest. Havens' death may not have sent political shockwaves through the world, but it stirred the hearts of those who recognized him as a symbol of authenticity, resilience, and creative freedom during one of America's most turbulent times. Born in Brooklyn in 1941, Havens emerged as a powerful voice in the 1960s Greenwich Village folk scene. He blended folk, jazz, and soul into his music and used his gravelly voice to speak truths about love, peace, and justice. His impromptu 3-hour performance at Woodstock, where he famously stretched the song Freedom into a spiritual anthem, made him a cultural icon. That moment alone secured his legacy as the artist who set the tone for one of the most pivotal musical gatherings in history. Havens' death reflected the quiet fading of a generation that had fought passionately for social change through art. Unlike the violent or scandal-ridden ends of some of his contemporaries, his natural passing offered a serene closure, echoing the peacefulness he embodied through his music. In a modern era often dominated by spectacle, Havens remained a figure of grounded integrity. The immediate response to his death included tributes from fans, fellow musicians, and cultural historians. Rolling Stone and NPR honored him with retrospectives that emphasized his musical innovation and social contributions. While his passing didn't alter history's trajectory, it reminded many of the power of art as protest and the unique role musicians played in shaping 20th century consciousness. Richie Havens is immortalized through his recordings, Woodstock footage, and continued influence on musicians who value sincerity over commercialism. His ashes were scattered at the site of Woodstock, an act rich in symbolism, tying his spirit forever to the ideals he championed. In death, as in life, Havens reminds us that legacy is not always measured by headlines or power, but by the quiet, enduring impact of a voice that dared to sing for freedom. Gila Flur, one of the most electrifying figures in the history of ice hockey, passed away on April 22, 2022, at the age of 70 after a prolonged battle with lung cancer. His death was from natural causes linked to illness, yet it reverberated across Canada and the sports world, symbolizing the fading of an era when athletic grace, charisma, and raw talent merged to produce legends. Lafleur, affectionately known as the Flower, was more than a hockey player. He was a cultural icon, especially in Quebec. Playing most famously with the Montreal Canadiens during the 1970s, he embodied the spirit of a golden age in Canadian hockey. With his flowing blonde hair trailing behind him as he flew down the ice, Lafleur combined finesse and firepower, becoming the first NHL player to score 50 goals and 100 points in 6 consecutive seasons. His legacy was further solidified with 5 Stanley Cup championships, cementing him as one of the game's all-time greats. His death marked a moment of national mourning, particularly in Canada, where hockey is entwined with identity. The Canadiens held a state funeral in Montreal, an honor typically reserved for political leaders, demonstrating how deeply Lafleur was woven into the cultural fabric. This public farewell revealed the immense respect afforded to sports heroes in Canadian society, particularly those who represented their province and country with distinction. Lafleur's passing highlighted the values of his era: determination, loyalty, and the celebration of physical excellence as a form of national pride. Unlike today's media-saturated environment, Lafleur's legend grew in a time when performance on the ice spoke louder than off-ice theatrics. His death did not merely mark the end of a life, it reignited appreciation for a style of play and sportsmanship that many feel has faded in the modern era. We continue to immortalize Gila Flur through documentaries, Hall of Fame tributes, commemorative statues, and the memories shared by those who witnessed his greatness. His life and death reflect humanity's longing to connect with excellence, to celebrate those who elevate the human experience through passion, grace, and grit. Al Shaver, the revered Canadian sportscaster and longtime voice of the Minnesota North Stars, passed away on April 22, 2024, at the age of 96. His death from natural causes marked the end of a storied career that spanned nearly 5 decades, during which he became a beloved figure in the hockey world and a symbol of dedication to the sports broadcasting tradition. Born in London, Ontario in 1927, Shaver's journey in broadcasting began after graduating from the Lorne Greene Academy of Radio Arts in 1948. He honed his skills across various Canadian cities before becoming the inaugural play-by-play announcer for the Minnesota North Stars in 1967. His distinctive voice and vivid storytelling brought the excitement of hockey to life for fans, earning him the Foster Hewitt Memorial Award in 1993 and a place in the Hockey Hall of Fame's media section. Shaver's decision to remain in Minnesota when the North Stars relocated to Dallas in 1993 reflected his deep connection to the community and the values of loyalty and integrity that defined his era. He continued to contribute to the sport by calling University of Minnesota men's hockey games until his retirement in 1996. His legacy is further honored by the naming of the press box at the Xcel Energy Center after him, a testament to his lasting impact on the sport. The immediate aftermath of Shaver's passing saw an outpouring of tributes from fans, colleagues, and the broader hockey community. His death served as a poignant reminder of the enduring influence of broadcasters who, through their passion and eloquence, become the voice of a team's history and the soundtrack of countless memories. In reflecting on Shaver's life and death, we are reminded of humanity's deep-seated desire to connect through shared experiences and narratives. Figures like Shaver are immortalized not only through awards and honors, but also through the indelible impressions they leave on the hearts of those they touched. His story underscores the power of storytelling in sports and the role of broadcasters in shaping the cultural fabric of their communities. As we commemorate Al Shaver, we celebrate a life dedicated to bringing the game of hockey into homes and hearts, ensuring that his voice and the memories it evokes will resonate for generations to come.